You are Locked On Tigers POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Oh, baby, what's going on? How about that for a finale to a 4-game series? So many twists and turns in that game, but the Tigers win it in extra innings. Thanks for dialing up a live Locked On Tigers postcast. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma, formerly with 97.1 The Ticket, the flagship, now with Locked On Sports Detroit, which is your friendly reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And let's riff about this one because it was a huge comeback win for the ball club. We'll get into that. I didn't like what I saw from Casey Mize, some obvious concerns there, but some momentum building with an extra innings win when you strike for 4 in the 10th inning and just outlast the Boston Red Sox to get a much needed series split. That's all on tap coming up. But as always, we thank you for making Locked On Tigers postcast your one-stop shop, your only destination for post-game coverage, reaction analysis, and your first listen following the conclusion of every Tigers game, free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, on YouTube, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's show also made possible by Supply House. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to get parts fast, shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job, and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. Man, as I mentioned, there's a lot to get into. So if you're just dialing it up on the YouTube, let your voice be heard. Fire those comments away, and we will get right to them. Starting with the sorry tears of one Jack Lauderay, who is absolutely disgusted as his Red Sox fall to the Tigers. Sorry to hear that, my friend, but hey, this was a good series with the Tigers winning the bookends of the series. Red Sox get the middle too. And what did we say about this matchup? Just a couple of 500 teams going at it, and fitting that the series goes 2-2. So the Tigers now 29-30 on the season and a 500 mark of 15-15 on the road. The Red Sox 30-30 on the season, 13-17 at home. Andrew Chafin gets the win with his inning and a third work. Pitched that scoreless 10th, and it's Boozer who gets the loss after the Tigers struck for 4 in that 10th inning. Only 3 of them are earned with the silly ghost runner on second, which I put that in my notes. I just will never be on board with the silly ghost runner to start extra innings. If you want to do it after the 12th or 13th inning, maybe that's one thing. But nonetheless, it's a victory for the Detroit Tigers and a victory Sunday. You got to love it. And the way this game began, as you look at Casey Mize's struggles, which we'll dive into a little bit more in the second segment, but a run in the first, run in the second, run in the third. Now, to his credit, he did make some big pitches to try to limit the damage. But this Tigers offense, after threatening in the first, I thought, oh boy, it might be one of those days, but they tag across a run in the 5th and 6th, although both times I felt like it could have been a bigger inning than just the solo run. But to their credit, again, showed some resiliency. 2 more runs in the 7th to take a 4-3 lead before that home run by Rafael Devers tied it up at 4. We went to extra innings, and that's when the Tigers struck for 4 in the 10th. They put together some clutch 2-out hitting, and it's a say something nice about Javy Baez episode because he had the big 2-run single in the extra inning session in the 10th that scored 2. Andy Ibanez had the first hit to bring home the run, but anytime, like I mentioned, you got the silly ghost runner starting the inning with a runner on second and nobody out, you feel better if you're able to get more than just the 1 run, and it was Javy Baez that did that for the Tigers. So saying something nice about Javy, way to go. And we'll take that at bat over what we saw in the first, his first at bat when he struck out to 3, I don't know however many it was, egregious sliders out of the zone. But got to take the good with the bad, I guess. And for the Tigers, this felt like, I tweeted it out earlier when they fell behind 3-0. Casey Mize looked bad. Torkelson's out of the lineup. I thought, all right, this is one of those days where we talk about the big picture issues with this ball club, because I don't think this game is going to be fun to talk about post game. But I was wrong, and it's always good to be wrong. A couple other comments to get to. Jason Walter checking in with the dub. And Mr. Nick, man on second for extras is delightful. Cherry on top to an already shortened game length since the pitching clock situation came about. Go Tigers. Glad Torque got some, quote, much needed rest. Mr. Nick, appreciate you tapping in here live on a Locked On Tigers postcast, making some great points per usual. So I guess me and Mr. Nick will disagree on the runner on second to begin extra innings. But yeah, the Torque issue, we will get to it at some point today. It was circled and highlighted for the first thing I wanted to get to, but 2 off days for Spencer Torkelson. I think a send down to AAA is imminent. I think it's coming, and sooner rather than later. I also think you can look at some signs there late in the ball game where AJ Hinch is going to multiple pinch hitters before even hinting at going to Spencer Torkelson. So Jake Rogers grabs a bat before Spencer Torkelson does. And no disrespect to Jake Rogers. He's been a great defensive catcher for the Tigers, but in terms of a pinch hit situation, the fact that AJ Hinch went to Jake Rogers before Spencer Torkelson, I think tells you all you need to know. But nonetheless, it's a victory for the Tigers. Demetrius McNeil tapping in a 4-run top of the 10th inning because the play of the game is the play of the game. This possibly Oilers advance to the Stanley Cup Finals. Yeah, we do have some Stanley Cup action tonight. The Stars and Oilers. I don't plan to talk about that too much, but hey, we love hockey on this Locked On Tigers postcast as well. But back to the action on the field. Some other notes worth getting to. You'll notice we put Wenceel Perez on the thumbnail. That's because another solid game for him. 3 hits and the RBI. The reason being as well, clutch hit for Wenceel Perez in the midst of a 2-out situation when he was able to single in that go ahead run for the Tigers to make it 4-3. Now, obviously, we know what happened. We know what happened later down the stretch where, he doubled to tie to make it 3-3. That's right. It was Canna's RBI ground out that made it 4-3. But nonetheless, very clutch for Wenceel Perez, and I think he's established himself as an everyday player, and that's really going out on a limb. Way to go, Jake. He is established himself as an everyday player, one of the best rookies in the league, and even with a later call-up than some of the other rookies who started the season with the big league team and their various organizations. But Perez's stats are every bit that of a rookie of the year caliber player. So another great game from Wenceel Perez. And all told, despite Casey Mize putting this team in a little bit of an uphill battle and a little bit of a hole, you love to see the bats come alive, especially later in the game. And I know the bullpen gave up the 1 run in the 8th, which we'll talk about. Alex Faedo gave up the home run to Rafael Devers. His splits versus lefties are so good. So you understand why AJ Hinch stuck with the right-hander to face Devers, because Faedo's been so good against lefties. But the fact of the matter is Devers got the better hand of him in that situation. But Tyler Holton, 2 1/3 shutout baseball, 7 up, 7 down. That was really, really impressive as well. Foley pitched there in the 9th to continue to keep it a tie game. He goes an inning, just gave up the 1 hit, and then Chafin gets the win, his 3rd of the season. So the bullpen, just one little blemish there, but all told, when you've got Casey Mize, who gave up 3 in just a matter of 4 innings, so 1 run over the course of 6 innings, you'll take that from your bullpen. And that's a good thing to see. Absolutely. So appreciate everybody tuning in as always on a live Locked On Tigers postcast, with the Tigers beating the Boston Red Sox 8-4 to move to 29-30, 15-15 on the road, and earn a series split, and continuing the 7-game road trip, going 2-2 in the first 4. So we'll talk about Casey Mize a little bit more. As always, take your comments on this live Locked On Tigers postcast and talk more about the bullpen and the Spencer Torkelson dilemma, we'll call it. That's all coming up next on Locked On Tigers postcast. Don't go anywhere. Today's episode of Locked On Tigers POSTCAST is brought to you by Supply House. That's right. You can order supplies from the website that's made for the skilled trades. Find thousands of parts from hundreds of brands in just a couple of clicks at supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com gives you 24/7 access to a huge selection of plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with fast delivery anywhere in the U.S. Need help with an order? Get industry-leading after-sales service from their friendly and knowledgeable customer support team, and talk to a real person. We love that. Talking to a real person, not a robot, every single time. And there's great news for plumbers, technicians, and contractors. Being a pro has its perks. Trade industry professionals can join their free TradeMaster program for free shipping and serious discounts on every order. Over 100,000 pros already trust the TradeMaster program to deliver results. That's what we're talking about. Deliver results. Apply for your membership today and get a competitive edge on every order at supplyhouse.com/TM. Save money and time when you order online. Order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right, big W for the Tigers today. It comes in extra innings, which, again, roller coaster of a ball game. Jason Benetti described it as a never-ending maze until finally the Tigers found their way out of the maze with an 8-4 win with the 4 spot in extra innings. Some other observations I made: Matt Vierling, what a series for him. He even got robbed on a couple of would-be base hits. The Red Sox played such great defense all series long, but credit to him. And then the play he made in the bottom of the ninth with that throw to third was so impressive. Matt Vierling quickly becoming one of those guys that you count on to make big plays both at the plate and defensively. So really nice play there. Carson Kelly threw out 2 runners from behind the dish. That's always a value add. There was one of the innings where it would have been worse. The damage would have been more than just 1 run if Kelly didn't throw out a runner at second. And then the conversation, I think it is time to start having the concern over Casey Mize conversation. And this is, again, one of the things, depending on how this game went, one of those things I would have led with if the Tigers wouldn't have come back to win, because who wants to talk about another loss? But we got to talk about a win. So now that we've given credit to every member on this Tigers team to being a part of that comeback win that showed some guts, showed some resiliency, I think we need to discuss the Casey Mize dilemma a little bit as well, because this is a guy who has struggled in his last 3 outings. And even though it wasn't, the final line is not egregious by anything, but it's cause for concern again. And for whatever it is, as far as your expectation level of Casey Mize, a former first overall pick, you would hope, and then missing 2 years, you would hope by now that there was more of a consistent level of results from Casey Mize, because his last outing was that slugfest against the Blue Jays on Sunday. He just went 4 1/3, got shelled his outing before that against Kansas City, just an inning and 2/3. And then today, another inning that is, it's less than what you're asking from your starter, when today he just goes 4 innings and allows the 3 runs, 2 of them earned. But understanding that, hey, this is a guy that you want more from. You want him to be a guy you can give the ball to. And we know this rotation is built with the big 3, with Skubal, Olsen, and Flaherty. Nobody's questioning that, and nobody's even discussing that. But from some production at the bottom of the rotation, you look at a guy like Casey Mize, and you just, again, you want more from him. You're in desperate hope for more from Casey Mize, and it hasn't come to fruition the last couple of starts. And if you look back at the production a little bit closer to the beginning of the season, he kind of got in that groove there when the Tigers were playing a little bit better baseball towards the end of April there. 6 innings on the 16th against Texas, 6 more innings in a win over the Twins. 5 innings in a win over the Royals. So again, we're not asking for Cy Young caliber production from Casey Mize. We're just asking for more consistency and to go deeper into games and be that more consistent, more capable bottom tier starter in the rotation or starter in the bottom portion of the rotation. And today you got to give this Tigers offense and bullpen a lot of credit to overcome the not so great start from Casey Mize. Again, a run in the first, second, and third, but to his credit, limited the damage. And even though he threw so many pitches through just 4 innings, he's still able to give his team a chance to win. So talking out of both sides of my mouth a little bit, but 82 pitches from Mize, 49 of them were from strikes, walked 4, only struck out 4. Again, not his best outing. He's got to find a way to get it done at a more consistent level. The bullpen, on the other hand, really, really good and very, very curious. Would love the opinion of those tuning in on the live stream right now on Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. The decision to stick with Faedo against the left-handed power hitter for the Boston Red Sox that tied the game in Bevers, who, again, Devers is a guy that has a lot of power. It's his 11th home run of the season. And Alex Faedo, who said his splits versus lefties are good, but you still had Andrew Chafin, and Chafin hasn't been great either. So I understand not having the confidence to go to one of the lefties in the bullpen, and we know it's not going to be Joey Wentz either. So I understand the move to stick with Faedo there, but anytime it doesn't work out, I think, and as a supporter of the team who wants the best, and I think it's okay to at least have that discussion of what, in hindsight's always 2020. I totally get that, but what the move should have been in that situation. So very curious your thoughts as well. Let me know in the comments, because there's no perfect way to manage a game and manage a bullpen, but I just think that's one of the strengths of this Tigers team more often than not, but it just wasn't that way today for AJ Hinch. But the Tigers still get the win. And again, if we're going to be up in arms about 1 run over the course of 6 innings from the bullpen, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's justified. But in that moment, that was the play of the game. And now, fortunately, we know how the rest of this played out in the top of the 10th inning with the Tigers striking for 4 runs. So just some food for thought, if you will. And while we've got a little bit of time now, let's pivot to the conversation about Spencer Torkelson, and does he belong in AAA? Is that the right move? Because AJ Hinch was asked about that pregame, and it's again, hear this when I say I don't look for reasons to go at AJ Hinch as the manager of this team, but it just feels like every answer that is a legitimate question, such as Spencer Torkelson being sent to AAA, there's always just a way to slide out of the answer without giving any type of substance for us to go off of. And he said, I don't know. We haven't talked a ton about things like that this morning. We're trying to find a way to win today. That's the number one important thing. Okay. Now, Tigers have won today, and if I'm in that clubhouse, I'm asking, now that you got the win, has any more thought been put to a decision with Spencer Torkelson to maybe free up a roster spot for a guy that could perhaps help this team more than Spencer Torkelson is? Because we know the numbers are really bad. 155, 3 walks, 16 strikeouts in his last 15 games. Tough to watch. Yeah, that's just a little bit of a glimpse into how much Spencer Torkelson has struggled, and you feel for him. And they talked about it on the broadcast today. Nobody's making this a personal vendetta against Spencer Torkelson. Everybody wants him to be great. Nobody wants to be like, I was right, he stinks. We missed on that one. Everybody wants him to be the first overall pick that you drafted him to be, to wreak havoc on the opposition in the middle of the order and be that extra base, powerful pop bat in the middle of the lineup. It just hasn't worked out that way. So now how do we get to a point where that is still in the cards? Does it send him down to AAA, let him get his confidence back? Or if you send him down to AAA, does he go into a spiral mentally and think it's all over? I don't know. And I would hope the manager of the organization and the skipper, the guy in charge, would have a little bit more insight into what a decision like that might do for a guy like Spencer Torkelson, have a positive impact or perhaps do more harm than good. But either way, I think it'll be interesting to monitor as we continue with the road trip, with the Tigers now heading to the Metroplex in Dallas to take on the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. I guess let me be technical here. Arlington, that's right. The Rangers reside at beautiful Globe Life Field in Arlington, but serving the Dallas-Fort Worth area as their World Series champions in 2023. So 3-game series beginning tomorrow. Make sure you're joining us for all of our episodes after those games. As always, we'll wrap this one up with a little bit of rapid fire, tie a bow on this series, and look ahead to who the Tigers have coming up. That's all coming up in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. The Locked On Tigers postcast continues in just a minute. All right, time to tell you about my good friends at Prize Picks. We love Prize Picks. Of course we do, because with Prize Picks, it's real simple. You pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win big. That's right. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members, and I'm one of them. I love Prize Picks because it's simple. It adds a little spice, a little pizzazz to every game you're watching. You pick more, you pick less, and that's when the fun begins. There's always action on Prize Picks, and this is the perfect time to try out something new. Basketball's winding down. Make sure to try out esports this month. That's right, because for every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your lineup doesn't win, you'll get your entry fee back. Choose from Counter-Strike 2, Call of Duty, League of Legends, and more. How about that? Are you an esports fan? Well, Prize Picks has you covered. You can now also win up to 100 times your money with baseball-only lineups on Prize Picks if you submit a winning lineup feature for Demon Squares. Now, Demon Squares are a little bit more difficult to win, but download the app, try it out for yourself. You'll cash in big time on the biggest moments of baseball's season. Doesn't that sound like a lot of fun? I know I've had a good time with the Demons portion of the Prize Picks app because a little more challenging, but hey, you win big, and who doesn't love that? All right. All you have to do, download the app today, use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's right, download the app today, use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. And don't forget, Prize Picks is real simple. You pick more, you pick less. It's that easy. Download the app today, use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. All right, appreciate everybody cruising along on a Sunday after a victory, an extra innings victory, no less, as we reset the action here. Up next for the Tigers, Monday, it's Tarek Skubal Day, taking on the Texas Rangers. Nathan Eovaldi will get the start for the Rangers. And the Rangers and Tigers, again, it's another matchup. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We had the Locked On close going. Good stuff there. Everybody hang on. My first time doing this. Don't worry. Every now and then, self-producing, you get a little glimpse here, a little glimpse there, but we're back and better than ever. We are live, baby. So let me just repeat what I mentioned because I forgot to wait. I was just too excited, but that's because it's Tarek Skubal Day tomorrow for the Tigers, taking on the World Series champion Texas Rangers at Globe Life Field. Great pitching matchup with the Tigers because it'll be Casey Mize. That's who just pitched. That's why I said that. It'll be Tarek Skubal tomorrow against Nathan Eovaldi. Good matchup there. Skubal 7-1 on the season, 2.01 ERA. Eovaldi 2-2, 2.84 ERA for the Rangers. And what I was mentioning is the Rangers have been kind of a similar team to the Tigers in the sense that they've played some really good baseball. The Tigers and Rangers played a 4-game series earlier this season with the Rangers taking 3 of 4. But the Rangers had their struggles as well. Now both teams at the 500 or close to the 500 mark at 29-30. So you split with a 500 team like the Red Sox on the road trip. now an opportunity to really make it a great road trip and finish off with maybe a series win against the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers in their own building. And they have struggled as of late. They did sweep the Diamondbacks in the middle of the week last week. I mentioned they split so far with the Marlins. That's where they were this weekend. So they got to fly home today and then take on the Tigers tomorrow. Should be a good weekend of baseball. So that said, we're talking about the Tigers here. Yes, the Rangers won today 6-0. So they beat the Marlins 2 out of 3, and the Tigers coming off a series split against the Boston Red Sox. Skubal on the mound, always fun to watch him go. But another big one for the Tigers today with that 4-run 10th inning. If you missed it earlier, I said something nice about Javy Baez because he had the 2 RBI single in that one. Gio Urshela, I thought, played well today. Got robbed a couple of times, but interesting. I like him at first base in the absence of Torkelson. 2 more hits for Riley Green, 2 more hits for Matt Vierling. He had 6 in the series, as well as a really, really good play defensively. 3 hits for Wenceel Perez, like what I saw there. And for Mark Canha, he had the RBI that gave the Tigers the lead 4-3. Obviously, Red Sox came back and tied it, but eventually the Tigers get the win in extra innings. Akil Baddoo with a hit today, so maybe he's proven that he belongs with the big league squad. It'll be interesting to monitor that one as well. But and Carson Kelly 2 hits as well, one of them being an RBI double. So that said, Tigers score 4 in the 10th to get the win over the Boston Red Sox. 8-4. They split the 4-game series. Tigers now 29-30, 15-15 on the road, and will begin a 3-game series with the Texas Rangers beginning tomorrow. That should be a good time. You know what else is a good time? Tuning in to the live 24/7 Locked On channel. That's right. Locked On has launched the 24/7 streaming platform on YouTube, and now available on Amazon Fire TV in the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today, here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today and available on the free Fire TV channels app. Make sure you're listening to Locked On Tigers on the daily with Scott Bentley. That's always a good time as well. So although Casey Mize didn't have his best stuff today, he finishes a final line of 4 innings, allowing 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned, 4 walks, and 4 Ks. The bullpen comes up in a big way. Tyler Holton, 2 1/3, 7 up, 7 down, did not allow a single base runner and had a strikeout as well. Faedo does give up the long ball to Devers that tied the game, but the Tigers able to win it with a 4 spot in the 10th. So momentum building win. Let's hope it's a sign of things to come, because we could certainly use it. So gotta love that. Tigers getting the win in extra innings. It'll be interesting to monitor the Spencer Torkelson situation. Does he get sent down? What's next? Because he only played in 2 of the 4 games. And when AJ Hinch needed a pinch hitter, it was Andy Ibanez, and then it was Jake Rogers. Spencer Torkelson stayed on the bench. So I think that's the big takeaways from today. But another big takeaway, Tigers win. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, it's a pleasure. We'll see you next time on Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit. Doesn't cost you anything. And we are here with comprehensive post-game coverage and analysis after the Tigers games. And that's what makes it fun. And while you're at it, drop me a follow on Twitter at Jake_Riepma. So appreciate everybody tuning in, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And we'll talk to you next time on Locked On Tigers POSTCAST.